fighters. Consider great fight. You want to be the best, fight the best.
What's going on? It's your man, the Dominican Dream, and this is another episode of the Boxing Roundtable. This is the Teofimo Lopez, Jamaine Ortiz immediate post-fight reaction, and I am ready to talk boxing. Yo, the theme of this fight, it was a circus-like theme, clowns and like a Ringling Brothers kind of situation, Barnum and Bailey's. And the main clown tonight was Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is behaving like a clown outside of the ring. He's saying incoherent things, and he's showing that his career is incoherent. I'm a fan of Teofimo Lopez. I admire him as far as what he does in the ring, but the thing that I admire the most is the fact that is his willingness to fight the best. And when he steps up to fight the best, we see the kind of performances that he puts on, beating an undisputed. I know he didn't have the belts at the time because he relinquished them. No one beat him for them. So he was the undisputed champion at 140 pounds. And Josh Taylor went up there and whooped his ass at about 16-0, 15-0. 13-0. He was calling out Lomachenko. People said, you too green, you're a little crazy, watch your mouth, you got a big mouth. He talked his way into the fight. He got the fight, and he beat Lomachenko. No controversy. So why then go and fight Kambosos and look somewhat silly? Not in his athletic ability, but in his choice of game plan or lack thereof. He goes and fight Campo. Doesn't look stellar. Stops him. Then he goes back and fights Sandor Martin out of Spain. In a fight that a lot of people thought that he lost. He looked confused. He looked impatient. He looked like he didn't have a game plan for the fighter that he was fighting. You're supposed to always have a game plan when you go in there against anyone. You're supposed to look at tape. You're supposed to, if you don't look at tape, your coach is supposed to look at tape, right? And have you spar people that are similar to that particular fighter. In this fight, man, the dude fought Jamaine Ortiz because he said, and I believe him, he couldn't get any other fights. The Haneys, the Shakur Stevensons, the Tank Davis, those guys seem to not want to fight him despite his up and down career. You go in there against a guy that's athletic, fast, and that's a mover, and you know that because you fought him in the amateurs and you beat him, and you don't throw a jab. What kind of elite fighter are you? You don't throw a jab. You don't go to the body, and you don't cut off the ring. You follow him. You look for haymakers. You look for the home run. Your dude was looking for the fucking knockout from round 1 to round 12. I was on the show. Shout out to them. Four Corners Boxing. My man, the Maniac, is on that show. X, all of y'all, Mo. And most of the panel on there, very knowledgeable guys, picked Teofimo to win by stoppage, mid to late rounds. I understand why they did it, because he is the superior talent in the ring against Ortiz. But I told them, I'm going to go with Teofimo, but I'm going to go by decision. Because one fighter that recently got criticized was Conor Benn, because Conor Benn fought Peter Dobson, and that's what he was doing too. The same thing, the same shit that Teofimo did against Kambosos. He was looking for the knockout from the gate. He was looking for that home run. That's what Conor Benn did against Dobson. He actually predicted that he was going to beat Dobson in the first round, and Dobson said he got ready for that and was trying to let Conor Benn tire himself out. You can't come in there to knock everybody out, especially when you're fighting, top 5 level guys. It's not, you don't come in that way, man. You set the knockout up. Even fighters that are knockout fighters like Beterbiev, they chip you down. Even though Beterbiev to me is not a tremendous tactician, but let's say a Mexican fighter, like even Santi Yang when he fought Rocha, a lot of body work, right? Body head, behind a jab, putting pressure on him. You can't just lunge in with one shot. Wait, lunge in with one shot. That's not the way you get it done. Teo deserves absolutely all the criticism that he has been receiving and is now going to receive after this fight. Jamaine Ortiz did the best that he could do because that's all he could do. Jamaine Ortiz is nothing special. He's an athletic guy, a guy with a solid build, a guy with fast. He's fast and athletic, similar to Teofimo, but without the explosiveness, right? And without the decision and that decisiveness to be offensive, right? But this shit it was atrocious, man. It was stupidity from Teofimo Lopez at its finest. These guys don't beat Teo. Teo beats himself. For George Kambosos went in there, guns blazing. All right? You're seeing that this dude is a good counter puncher. That's exactly what he wants you to do. He wants you to come to him. Be smart. Set him up. Stand your ground in the middle of the ring. In the middle of the ring, your body language says a lot. Throw the jab. Throw your jab. Move your head. Right? Tap. And then, when you get him in good range, you throw the powerful jab with the shoulder, with your leg behind it. You understand what I'm saying? Go to the body. This guy's slick. He moves around. You got to invest in that body. You can do it. You know how to do it. You can't go in there swinging for the fences at every pitch, dog. You can't do it. You got to work behind the jab. You got to move your head. When Tyson moved his head, a lot of opponents didn't realize how close he was after a few seconds of Tyson moving his head. But Tyson wasn't out there standing straight up and lunging with punches. That's not how he was getting it done. Tyson was smart. He was a small fighter. He was trained by one of the best trainers to ever do it in Customado, who showed him the peekaboo style, right? Who showed him those hooks to the bodies and then the uppercuts. This dude, he was smart. There was a game plan. There was a strategy behind what he was doing. When Teofimo fought Lomachenko, he went in there behind a jab, stiff jab with his guard up, strong jab, stiff jab. From round 1 to 6, he was used right behind. He was fighting behind a jab, the most important punch in boxing. Why are you not gonna do that against guys that you could do that even more easily against? What's wrong with you, man? And Teofimo was not the only clown in his life and in his career. There's somebody that to me is a bigger clown than Teofimo, and that's Teofimo Lopez Sr. Dog, you did good with your son. You got him to where he's at. You got him. He's a talented kid. He's a tremendous athlete. He's fast. He's got those fast twitch fiber muscles. He looks spectacular when he's on. Okay, that's cool. But after a certain point, you have to realize that these things that you taught him are not enough, because you guys are not formulating game plans together. What do? You get there's a million good trainers out there. Get a better trainer. Get a good trainer. Let that trainer come and train your son appropriately. Help him put together game plans and keep his head in the game, keep him disciplined. Because obviously, Teo's not the only one who's an emotional fighter. So is his father's an emotional trainer. So how are you going to have a successful game plan if the guy in your corner is telling you, yo, take your time? 5 seconds later, literally in the corner, in the same break, the same 60-second break. Knock him out already. What the fuck are you waiting for? You just told the dude to take his time. He did that twice. He did that in the Kambosos fight, and he even did it in the Josh Taylor fight. Yo, we got to figure him out. We'll figure him out. Don't worry about it. No, you got to figure him out already. Oh, man. What is it, cocaine? I don't know what other kind of drugs people are taking, what other kind of drugs make you do shit like that. But the bottom line is that, dog, come on, man. Stop being greedy. Stop being stupid. I know you're getting that training percentage. But if you really care about your son, get him a better trainer and take the driver's seat, right? Like Virgil Ortiz's father does. He's a trainer himself. He trains his son. He trained his son. But what did he do? He went to Robert Garcia, who's a renowned trainer, a very good trainer, and perfect for Virgil Ortiz's style. If do you really want the best for your son, do you really want the best for your son, or do you want the best for yourself? As far as the fight and scoring the fight, the best that Tio, in my opinion, could have came away with based on actual scoring, right? The way fights are scored these days is a draw. I think a draw would have been fair, or a slight victory for Ortiz because he didn't do much, but he implemented his game plan and he landed. I think it was 2 or 3 more punches than Teofimo Lopez. So if you want to be very literal and give him the fight, there's grounds on which to do it. But they seem to score this fight the way they used to score fights back in the day. And the way they used to score fights back in the day was that if you were not aggressive, if you were moving around and on a back foot, dog, you wasn't getting a fight. You wasn't getting the nod, especially against a named fighter, which I agree with. I agree with that, but I know today fights are not scored that way. They're scored, they score scratch and sniff little jabs and jabs that are not even power jabs, but just that touch you. And, to me, those are not scoring blows. To me, a scoring blow is a significant punch. Even a jab that's landed with significant force, right? The only guy that got away with throwing 2 jabs around and, pity pat right hand here and there, pot shotting was Mayweather, right? Because before him in the 80s and the 90s, a fighter that was on the back foot and regressing and on the back foot and not doing much and not hurting his opponent, he wasn't going to get the nod, especially against a named fighter, because your name holds no weight. You can't come in. There's nothing that you're defending. You're supposed to be taking the victory from the other guy. You're supposed to be taking the belt from the other guy. You're supposed to be taking the shine away from the name. You're supposed to be taking the name from the name. You're supposed to be backing up and moving and backing up. But that's what Ortiz is, man. He's nothing more than that. And he's nothing special. He's an athletic fighter. He's a guy that comes in tremendous condition, but he's a guy that's not going to do damage to you. He looked horrible in his last fight before this fight against Antonio Moran. He got clipped in the 2nd round, got hurt, got clipped to the body in the 5th and got hurt. Was getting a lot of punches landed on him against a much lesser fighter than Teofimo Lopez. But tonight he came ready. This might work in favor of Teofimo Lopez because maybe now Devin Haney will get in the ring with him. Now Shakur Stevenson will get in the ring with him. Now Tank Davis will get in the ring with him. Right? But what excuse are they going to come up with now? Because he looks very beatable. Most people would probably pick those guys after the night to beat him. But Tio's career is a vicious circle. Beat a great fighter and look stupid against a much lesser fighter. Beat a great fighter and then look stupid against a much lesser fighter. It's a vicious circle. We had the theory that Teofimo Lopez used to fight down to the level of his competition. We had that theory in mind that that's what he does. But it's no longer a theory. It is a proven fact. He fights down to the level of his opposition. When he fights great fighters, he looks spectacular. When he fights borderline scrubs and guys that are not elite fighters, he looks just like them. He looks like a talented guy that's making, to me, that's what he is. He's a tremendously talented guy that makes poor choices in and outside the ring. With his personal issues, and I won't get into that. That's a little personal. I know he has, but it's all about, life is about choices. And sports is about choices. Boxing is about choices. If you choose to go in there and try to knock a dude's head off for 12 rounds without a jab, without going to the body, without moving your head and trying to cut off the ring, then you're going to look silly. Because that guy is prepared to avoid amateur mistakes like that. Anyway, man, horrible performance. I think the fight was a draw, maybe a slight victory for Jamaine Ortiz. I picked Tio to win by unanimous decision because I could see him making this mistake tonight of trying to go in there and knock the dude's head off and, still winning some rounds, significantly, but being a little too apprehensive and not being able to get the knockout because that's what he would be looking for. But tonight it happened, and it happened to the same extreme that it happened in the Kambosos fight. Even though in the Kambosos fight, he almost got it. He dropped Kambosos in the knife and the dude was almost out. But in this fight, he was fighting a more talented guy in Ortiz, a guy that's a bigger, stronger guy, and a guy with more movement. You know, not stronger as a bigger puncher, but stronger physically. So tonight, this thing, he's just his career and his life is a vicious circle. And if he doesn't make some serious changes now, I think the circle might stop here. This might be the last fight where he doesn't fight such a good fighter and doesn't look good, but then goes to fight a great fighter next and actually gets beat soundly by that great fighter as well. Teofimo, be smart, use your head, do what's best for your career, for your life. It's in your hands. Get rid of that trainer and stop making stupid decisions and focus, man. Boxing is what got you where you're at in life. Put into boxing now. I know you put a lot in to get where you at, but you see where it's getting you. If you want to continue to scale up, which you can, then continue to put back into it, because it's giving you back when you do. So stop playing, man. And everyone that's criticizing T.O. and calling him a clown and all that, yo, I am not mad at y'all. Anyway, T.O., wake up. This has been another episode of the Boxing Roundtable. Share, like, and subscribe.